なんだあれ。俺は忍びだ。
And I think fans were kind of like, "Ooh, yeah, Kishimoto's coming back." But I wasn't even so displeased. I thought, the manga kind of got on track and found its own style, and I was actually liking it. I mean, me not getting presented what I wish for and thinking, oh, that character should be like this or act like this or should have that outcome. The outcome I wish the most for might not be the outcome that is most beneficial to tell the story that an author wants to tell. So, if a story goes in every way in a way that the fandom would like it to go, like the optimum way, then that also means it becomes extremely predictable. And then is the question, what is the purpose of even following that series? It takes away from the surprise.
Surprise, motherfucker!
And sometimes surprises, breaks, are what makes a story different, interesting. It's called a plot twist. It's when things get revealed that the fandom didn't even expect, that turn the whole story upside down without being a stupid retcon, without diminishing things that happened previously. And I think things where the story went really, really good was, I didn't like the inclusion of this whole tech gears things at first, but I got to terms with it, and I actually really liked the way Boruto included some of the tech into his fighting, into his style. Also a thing that I really liked, or rather came to like, was that Boruto was an unlikable character, which is kind of paradox. It sounds kind of nonsense to say I liked Boruto for being unlikable, even for myself, but I think that was the point. He was never supposed to be Naruto 2.0, like just a revision of Naruto. And people were like, oh, he's ungrateful, he doesn't know what his dad went through, he's arrogant and spoiled. Yes, and that's what made him interesting, because it is precisely that which I wanted to see him going through. Like, he didn't go through the same things as Naruto. He didn't grow up as a single lonely child without anyone for him to support him, to love him. He wasn't the outcast from the village. Boruto is the popular boy. He's the Hokage's son. He's a completely different own entity. So of course he should be different. And I liked so many things about Boruto. I liked his fighting style being from the Hyuga clan inspired fighting technique, where he used a lot of palm strikes, but at the same time incorporated techniques such as the shadow clone jutsu, the Kagebunshin no jutsu, and also the Rasengan later that he mastered through help from Konohamaru and Sasuke. So he's a different character. He didn't have even to fight in a similar fashion. It was stated that, I think not obviously stated, but he does not have such a huge chakra reserve as Naruto. Naruto could just blast his enemy with quantity. he could just summon 1,000 Kagebunshin, 1,000 shadow clones to fight opponents that were actually way above him. Boruto style has always been more about using a more technical style as opposed to Naruto, as opposed to using sheer force, sheer amounts, huge amounts of chakra. So I think this is really important to see. He's his own character in terms of personality, in terms of upbringing, in terms of story progression, in terms of technique and fighting style, but also in terms of what this manga, I feel, is or was supposed to be about. And I think that's great. I really started to love Boruto the manga, and I think it's still good. I think it's still one of the shonen manga currently released that is the most interesting, I think. But I'm honest, I don't watch the anime at all anymore. It's really painful to sit through the anime. It's really painful to sit through trying to watch not just episodes, not just seasons, like season after season after season of filler. So for the Boruto anime, if I were to make a filler canon ratio, for even filler heavy anime series like Bleach and Naruto, especially the first half of Naruto, that they both had some headache inducing long filler seasons. But they were always, I'd say, below 30%. It was mostly 70–80% canon materials that made up the anime. I can't say that about Boruto. I'd say if I look on a web page and I check through all the episodes, and I check for episodes that finally go back to adapting the manga again, it's minuscule. It's a tiny portion of the anime. It's the minority of the episodes. I'd say it's the other way around. It's mostly 70–80% filler and maybe 20% actual canon material. Especially if we take away the adaptation of the fight versus Momoshiki. So the anime adaptation of the fight versus Momoshiki, which is the manga's adaptation of the movie. And the only good thing that's to say is that the show really let Naruto and Sasuke shine.
なるほどな。さっきまでとは別物ってわけか。一丁教えてやろうぜ、サスケ。ああ。
But I mean, it's just adapted what the manga and before that the movie established. So yeah, that was pretty much getting a, like, your bread already pre-buttered. You just have to put on some meat, some sausage, and bite in. It's the bulk of the work had already been done. It's not like the studio had to be creative the content. And it's even arguable which is actually better. I think there are certain scenes in the anime's adaptation of the fight versus Momoshiki that are better, that are a little bit more stylized, and where the choreography is really neat. It has some really neat, fantastic scenes. But the overall animation picture quality of the movie, I'd say, is superior. So it's kind of sad. I feel this is like they butcher the legacy of Naruto. I don't want to talk about the nitty-gritty things that I think are all not good inside the Boruto manga, and even more so in the anime. But I think, like I said, the original reason had been this that the manga is on a monthly release, had been covering the already released movie. The anime tried to do its own thing and released seasons that were trying to lead up to the events of the movie, then finally covered the movie's content, which was already covered in the manga, and then moved back to filler, lengthy filler seasons, and then after a long time started finally adapting the manga from the point where the manga had its own original content, which is just a long stretch. It's like it made me just dislike the anime a lot. And the quality really drops. It's also about coherence, how certain techniques seem way too overpowered, seem incoherent with certain rules or workings, how chakra works, how power scalings work, how the world of Naruto, the ninja world, has been established. And it just doesn't feel coherent. Where can this go? I think my hope still lies in the manga. I hope that Kishimoto, now I hope or think he's still in charge again of the manga. I hope that he follows what Ukyo Kodachi originally laid out, and that Kishimoto pushes through, that he is man enough, has the balls, as the author, as the one who created this, who is the spiritual father of this great story, to push through and say whatever the anime established with that stupid Jugan, whatever delusional stuff the fandom has picked up and is into now, screw that. I'm gonna push through with my story the way I and Ukyo Kodachi we're intending to tell the story, and I think that it can be a really good story, that it can go back to being coherent and being a story that actually can give a message, and that is actually in tune with the quality of the original. And I think the manga is at a turning point. I'm not happy about some other things, like the Duchi interactions between Aida. This little boy, her brother, Kawaki and Boruto, and the whole cast of Boruto, the manga. I'm not I'm maybe on camp Konohamaru gets screwed. I don't see him ever stepping up to be Hokage after Naruto. Naruto seems to be completely butchered. It's not like he was weak with just Sage mode. But I think he's been played dirty. Sasuke hasn't been shown to do anything since he lost his eye. It's kind of sad that these two characters that had been so pivotal, that had been pretty much the pillars of the Naruto story, that rivalry that had been built up from very early in the original Naruto manga up to the final confrontation, the very ending of Naruto's story. These two characters had been so pivotal. These characters had been displayed as being so powerful, and they're being done dirty, I think, and just for the sake of making a new generation look good. I think this is not the best way this is handled. I hope sincerely and strongly that the manga is getting these characters back in, that there are maybe ways for Naruto to regain powers, maybe Kurama, and for Sasuke maybe to gain a substitute eye or some kind of recovered eye. I know the story is not about them. Time moves on, so does the story. It's a shonen story, and the shonen story can never be about adults, because shonen means boy. A shonen story is a boy's story about boys, usually with the protagonist being a boy. The audience, the target audience, are boys, are usually kids or boys in their adolescence, and usually people identify best with characters that are not too asimilar to themselves, which have certain characteristics, certain traits that are relevant for their own life, to be able to identify with them. And it is really hard for a teenage or adolescent demographic target audience to identify with already full-grown 30+ year characters who are already parents, fathers in their own right. Naruto having 2 kids and Sasuke having his daughter. That's something maybe the OG fandom identifies with, like me, people who have already long since left school, are in their work life, and are in a different phase in their life. I get it. For the sake of reaching their target audience, they kinda gotta X off the old heroes. But I feel it's not done in the most respectful way. That's also an issue I see. But this is not exclusive to the anime. That's not an issue that has to do with the divide between the manga and the anime. But these are all things that I feel come on top. It's pretty much all the points I was talking about, and it all comes together, creating a situation where I feel the manga needs to get serious again and treat the old cast a bit better. It needs to do a better job about establishing and treating characters in the right way, to not let it get too silly, to not alienate the old OG fandom, and to not let characters look silly, stupid, or too goofy. And at the same time, what the anime needs to do, I think it needs to more strictly follow the manga. It needs to it needs to go back to focusing on adapting the manga material, the source material, the original canon story, and whenever they catch up, to not go past the line, to not shoot past the goal and create filler that is detrimental to the established story universe. I think there is absolutely right to, there's some value in filler if it's done carefully. It can help build the world and cover things that have only been strived, that have only been hinted at, or not really had the room to be established well enough. A bit more, to give some characters more relevance that maybe didn't get enough screen time in the source material, in the manga. So I think an anime adaptation can work amazingly. I think it can work beautifully and can help build the world. But the way it's done right now, it's not. I think it's creating too much of a divide. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for listening to me. This turned again into another long video. My videos are too long. But if you enjoy this lengthy content, if you enjoy me rambling about my favorite TV shows, give a like, give a subscribe. Helps out. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye.